So welcome back to This Week in Video Games, and this week Bungie let us know that they're going to be reworking the light subclasses in the Witch Queen, starting out with Void. So they're going to give it the stasis treatment as they did in Beyond Light. So today I'm going to go through all the details that Bungie gave us this week in This Week at Bungie on the 26th of August 2021, and we go through all the details of the Void subclass improvements, and it looks like really exciting stuff. Well, if you're new around here or find this useful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below for all the latest Destiny 2 content, and turn on notifications by hitting that bell. Well, I'm going to jump over to the This Week at Bungie update, so I'm going to focus on the Void subclass section. So Bungie say, starting in the Witch Queen, we're aiming to give the light subclasses the stasis treatment, season over season, bringing more customization to Guardians and new ways to engage with their abilities. So while the team is deep in development, Sandbox Discipline Lead Kevin Yanis and gameplay designer Samuel Dunn are joining us to walk through their goals for the abilities and what the upcoming reworks will bring to the table. So Kevin said, throughout Tuesday's reveal, we watched as you all reacted to the Witch Queen, Season of Lost and the 30th anniversary. So part of those reactions were on subjects like subclasses and stasis aspects and fragments, and I feel that before we move forward, we should rip a few bandages off. So there's going to be no new darkness subclass with the Witch Queen or through year 5. We made the call to refocus ourselves on the light subclass this year. As you'll see below, this doesn't mean a port, but also new and exciting stuff too. There are no new stasis aspects and fragments arriving alongside Season of the Lost. Similar to the above, we wanted to focus on the different initiatives instead of adding more to stasis. We feel like this subclass build variety is in a good spot and is likely to benefit from tuning changes more than new stuff. To that end, we prioritise the Season of the Lost balance patch, another patch you'll hear about debuting with the 30th anniversary, and that one is coming in December. Well, today we're going to read a quick tease on the feature we're calling Void 3.0, a new interpretation of the Void subclasses and fantasies. So in the coming weeks, you're going to hear about the changes we're making to how players regenerate ability energy, and how those changes are going to affect PvE and PvP with our 30th anniversary release. A few examples of changes in the pipe, a reduction on how many one-shot kill abilities are available in the Crucible, and shifting our super energy regeneration so players are rewarded for participating in combat versus waiting for a timer. And then later in Year 5, we hope to share more on the initiative the team is discussing internally right now, making ammo regeneration a more deterministic and consistent paced experience across all activities. And I hope what I'm describing here paints a clear picture. The game is evolving for the better. So Destiny 2 is a living game as we head into our 5th year. We're looking at how we can evolve the sandbox you know and love to not only create exciting new experiences, but to better polish ones that haven't had much love since our launch in 2017. We've learned a lot over the years, and with each iteration of the sandbox, we're hoping to apply those learnings through Year 5 and beyond. I hope you're all excited about the future as I am. Well, next up we've got Brave New World. So as you saw in our reveal event, we're going to be doing some serious revamps to the existing light subclasses in Destiny 2. So our Void, Solar and Arc subclasses and damage types have been with Destiny from the very beginning. In fact, some of the player fantasies and mechanics in Destiny 2 today are the same that debuted with Destiny 1 back in 2014. And while we've had refreshes in 2017 and 2018 with Destiny 2 and Forsaken, these subclasses have in some cases been left behind by the new power bar and build crafting goals of the game. To help solve that problem, we're going to take these subclasses back into the shop to retrofit, remix and reinterpret the gameplay fantasies and mechanics by integrating them into the modern subclass experience. So in Destiny 2 Beyond Light, we introduce a new subclass system we dubbed internally as Subclass 3.0. And the goals of Subclass 3.0 were to create an experience that gave players more customization akin to Destiny 1, whilst also meaningfully evolving that experience. To us, Destiny is best when build crafting, best-in-class action, and power fantasy all meet to create gameplay experiences you just can't get anywhere else. Well, next up we've got Staring Out into the Void. So with Void 3.3, we're taking the subclasses you know and love and remixing them. So that means adding new abilities and mechanics, ditching some old ones where it makes sense to do so, and spreading out existing ones to create enticing new combinations. And our hope is to retain playstyles you know and love today, and to create some exciting new ones that you didn't even know you wanted. We can't wait to see what you will think of these changes, and as always, we're going to be looking for and responding to feedback. With that all said and done, I'm going to bow and let the team do the talking. So Sam Dunn takes over now, and he says, "Howdy everyone, I'm Sam Dunn, abilities designer on the Sandbox team. I'm here to dive into a little more detail about what you can expect from Void 3.0. So first of all, we've got a new shape. So as Kevin detailed above, We're in the process of updating Void, Solar and Arc into the new Subclass 3.0 system as used by Stasis, where you can pick and choose from a selection of supers, grenades, melees and aspects and fragments to craft cool and unique builds tailored around your playstyle. So in the Witch Queen, you'll experience the first phase of this metamorphosis as you wield the powers of the Void in your fight against Savathûn and a Lucent Brood. So it's important to reiterate this update will change things. So Destiny 2 has evolved significantly in the 3 years since Forsaken, and we believe that the light subclasses need a shake-up to keep pace, so much of the Void gameplay you know and love will continue to exist, albeit in a different form, so a few things won't be returning, and there are some exciting new additions we think you have a blast with. So to paint the picture of how we're approaching the Void 3.0 rework, here are our main goals. Preserve the strong existing power fantasies of Void, so we want to focus on what makes the damage type fun to use, and give it a cohesive identity that can be felt throughout your subclass, while also adding sweet new toys that feel like a natural extension of your Void powers. Provide new and exciting build crafting possibilities through the combination of aspects and fragments. So we want you to not only to be able to craft similar playstyles to the old subclass Diamonds using the new system, but also explore a bunch of new ways that your Void abilities can work together with your armour and your weapons. And finally, set up a framework for the systematic integration of the damage type into the rest of the game. So we believe that Stasis was very successful in providing a set of shared combat behaviours or verbs that can interact with each other within the other elements of the game. So with Void, we want to double down on this effort and reorganise the subclass in a similar way. And we're planning to continue this with Solar and Arc going forward. Well, next up we've got Say the Keyword. We're defining a set core of keywords that will be used by the various perks and abilities within each Void subclass, akin to the slow, freeze and shatter verbs used by Stasis. So each class will specialise in a few of these verbs, but it will be possible to dabble in the rest by coordinating with your fire team or certain combinations of abilities and fragments. Additionally, these verbs will appear in other places outside the subclass screen, weapon perks, exotic armour and mods from your seasonal artefact, and we intend to continue to expand that list as we move forward. And we believe that these systematic interactions between your abilities and your gear are the core of the Destiny build crafting game. So within Void there are 3 negative stasis effects that you'll be applying to enemies. So first we've got Suppression. The target is knocked out of any active abilities and can't activate any abilities movement modes as long as Suppression persists. Afflicted enemy AI combatants can't shoot their weapon. Next up we got Weakened, so the target takes increased damage and has their movement slowed, and enemy AI combatants fire their weapons with decreased accuracy. And finally we got Volatile, so the target is afflicted with the unstable Void energy and will explode upon taking any additional damage or on death. And there's 3 positive effects that you'll be applying to yourself and allies, so Void Overshield, a protective barrier or Void Light, which will reduce the damage taken from combatants, Invisibility, so you vanish from sight and do not appear on the enemy radar, and finally Devour, you'll feast on the energy of your foes, and kills restore you to full health, grant grenade energy and extend Devour. So these verbs should all be familiar to veteran players, but now exist in a new broader systematic framework that will allow us to consistently spread their behaviours across the game, where previously they must exist in their own siloed off subclass. Well, next up we've got Old Dog's new tricks, so to close this section out, here's a preview of some of the new updated abilities you'll be able to play with once Void 3.0 drops. So first of all, we've got Night Stalker Hunter, we've got Shadow Shot, Mobius Quiver, and this is a super. So it's going to fire 2 volleys of 3 Void arrows and a cone, which seek out enemies and spawn Void anchors on impact. So Shadow Shot makes tethered enemies volatile and deals increased damage to tethered targets. So one of the main usability pain points of the current iteration of Mobius Quiver is having to press the super input a whole bunch of times to fire each arrow individually, which is cumbersome and takes a lot of time, and often results in the player drifting somewhere they didn't intend to be, off the side of a cliff, as a totally hypothetical example. That has happened to me a few times. So by firing multiple arrows at once, it should be a lot easier to blanket in area in traps in preparation for a fight or to put burst damage on a boss. Next up, there's Stylus Executioner, and this one is an aspect. So defeating a weakened, suppressed or volatile target grants invisibility in true sight, and after performing a Stylus Execution, your next melee attack while invisible weakens enemies. So a twist on Middletree Night Stalker's current Flawless Execution perk, this aspect lets hunters specialise in defeating debuffed enemies to keep looping their invisibility. But that one sounds really powerful. Next up we got the Sentinel Titan, so Overwatch aspect. Cast a Void empowered barricade to grant a Void Overshield to yourself and nearby allies, and the empowered barricade slowly regenerates the Void overshield of allies bunkering behind it. So we want players to lean into the Sentinel fantasy of being the frontline protector for your team, so Overwatch is a powerful tool for setting up prior to an encounter and providing a safe haven to fall back on when things get a little bit spicy. We've got Shield Toss. This is a projectile melee ability, so hurl your shield towards an enemy and the shield can ricochet off enemies and surfaces, granting you a small chunk of Void overshield for each enemy hit. We want to give Titans more options when it comes to the projectile melees. Shield Toss is a great choice for aggressively pushing forward into groups of enemies, softening them up and giving you extra staying power. Finally, we've got the Void Walker Warlock. So we've got Pocket Singularity. This is a projectile melee ability. So launch a tracking unstable ball of void energy that detonates when it's near an enemy, pushing targets away from the blast and making them volatile. So it's designed as an anti-dive tool and a way to push enemies out of cover. With careful placement, it is possible and incredibly satisfying to pop enemies up in the air and then pop their volatile with a well-placed headshot before they hit the ground. And then we got Child of the Old Gods. That's an aspect, so cast your Rift to summon a sentient black hole, which hovers at your side, waiting for a target, and it will launch itself at enemies and then begin siphoning their energy and weakening them, refunding their life force back to you as either grenade or melee energy if you're using a healing rift, or health if you're using an empowering rift. So defeating enemies who are being siphoned by the child will refund some rift energy. That sounds really powerful and quite scary, so Child of the Old Gods is a strong default tool that gives Void Walkers an additional way to lock down area while sustaining themselves. So we hope that this preview sparks your curiosity and gets you thinking about some cool new Void builds. Have you ever wanted to run Spectral Blades and Vanishing Step, Ward of Dawn and Controlled Demolition, Handheld Supernova and Devour? Well, there's lots of new possibilities as we get closer to the Witch Queen. We're back in the future, twabs, talk more about the supers, the fragments and grenades that you're going to be mixing and matching. So we're really excited about what we're cooking up and we can't wait for you to get your hands on it. In the meantime, check out the Ability Balance update we released in Season of Lost. And you can check that out on Bungie's website on bungie.net. Well, that is it for all the news about the Void improvements coming with the Witch Queen. I don't know about you, I'm really excited about those improvements to the light subclasses. I think they're going to be much better in this new Stasis system. Really exciting stuff. Well, that is it for the latest Destiny 2 news on the Void subclass rework. And as always, thank you so much for watching. For more Destiny 2 content like this, hit that subscribe button down below and subscribe to This Week in Video Games. If you want to join the community, check out the Discord link in the description, or you can follow me on Twitter at TWIVG Podcast. If you enjoyed this video, found it useful, liking and sharing the video would really help me out. Otherwise, check out the other videos on the channel. Thanks again. I'll see you soon.